Orlando.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm in pain, but I'm in pain.
Oh, did you take a pill or something?
I'm drinking a glass of wine.
Hey, that's the best medicine, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, I'm gonna get into my Yahoo account to see the if I can get access to that thing you sent me.
Yes, please go ahead. Check that. That's great. And I apologize. I was realizing that I didn't change the agenda for today, but give me a couple of minutes and I'll have it ready for you to send
Yeah,
it.
no problem. Oh, 2018.
Okay.
Wow, this thing hurts, man. Oh, sucks being old.
Oh, come on, man. Not there yet.
Yeah, you're not, but I am. Uh, all right, let's see. You sent me Orlando the registration, right?
Yes, it should be an email for PM training, something with PM training.
You want me to log into that?
Yes, please go ahead. And the password should be in there too. And if you don't have it, it's PMP, all lowercase,
Oh,
123.
it's there.
Okay. Yeah, please log into that. And
All right. Yeah. I mean,
oh, you're in. Awesome. Um, great. So I'm gonna try product integration management. So let me finish this really quick. I'll be
yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, I caught you off guard, so don't worry about it.
no problem. I'm sorry. Yeah, things gotta. Because you know better than me. One of the things that is important for a meeting is to always have an agenda. So, and this is something that you can always go back to see what we cover um, in each class. So we're
You're better organized than me. But yeah, you're right. I always create an agenda.
yeah. I mean that it really makes a difference. And after that, so this way you can always refer at least to this and know what we cover each week. So you know it keeps you honest and it keeps me honest.
Okay. No, I just finished doing it. Let me see.
Yeah. Okay.
I have the manual up. I have it on page 63 in case you start there. Well, you're going to start on page.
Yeah, we were going to cover the process groups yesterday.
Yeah, we covered them. We covered, right, the process groups.
Yeah, but I think wanted to go a little bit deeper on what they were. I think we covered them briefly, but we didn't go over each one of them. We're gonna go on page 54. That's where we're gonna start.
All right,
On page 50. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, yeah, page 54. Yeah.
all right.
And This one is just one quick sec. I'm gonna get started with the. Just 2 seconds here, and
Oh, by the way, did my coworker friend call you?
you know, she hasn't called me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna touch base with you on that. She hasn't called. Which
That's surprising. She asked me for your information 3 times. Oh my God, this day.
hey, I got an interview today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and it went well. I'm going for a face-to-face on Friday at AAA.
Nice.
Yeah, so
As a contractor or employee?
as a contractor with the possibility of becoming an employee.
Yeah, a lot of companies are doing that. They bring people in as a contractor, and then they figure out how many projects they have, or and then they decide to keep or not keep the person.
Yeah.
Ahí en el trabajo, I got a couple of guys that have been contracting for 2 years, and they're complaining because they want to be employees. They go, "You nuts?" And it looks like next year we're going to have a shitload of projects. You look at people, man, I would fucking stay as a contractor.
You make more money usually.
More money, man. I was happy as a contractor. I was getting paid every week. You're supposed to get a check every week.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be getting. It's not the same with all of them. Like it depends on the contract, the consulting company. Like where I was when I was a Royal, it was, dude, I will never do that again. Never ever. I was paid monthly.
No, that's not.
Oh my gosh, that wasn't smart on my part, but I learned my lesson the hard way, so I will never do that again. That's not a good.
Oh my God, this foot is killing me. When I move it a certain way, it hurts like a motherfucker, man. Wow.
Oh man, you're gonna have to go to the doctor for that.
No, this happens to me every once in a while, and I don't know why. Yeah, I gotta go to the doctor, but. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna send this your way, and this is today's what we're gonna cover today. So just a second, bear with me. Do you want it? You want me to send it to your Yahoo account?
Yeah, send it to my Yahoo. That's what I got open right now. Oh my God.
Good thing is that the economy is picking up and companies are.
That's why I laugh with the elections, because he's thinking things are bad. There's a lot of work out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of work out there. Yeah,
But they want people to believe things are bad,
they do.
Wow, that last shot of pain. Wow, I hurt, man.
Oh.
It's gonna be a long night tonight, and I got the fucking vendors coming in tomorrow. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's always a.
I haven't gotten your email.
It's coming your way right now. Let me know when you get it. Ooh. And hold on just a second. I think I.
Whew.
All right.
All right, I got it.
Okay, great. All right, let's first thing that I want to do. Let me just go to. I'm gonna open another session. I want to go with you really quick and to go over the portal. Let's do that really quick. So this is a really important tool. Let me just log in from here, and then I can kind of share my screen. Okay. Huh. I'm not organized. This is not letting me. Oh, just 1 second. Jeez. Fluent PMP. Huh. Okay. Let's do something. I'm gonna log in as you, and I'll see what's going on.
I'm logged in right now. You want me to log out?
I think this should work. On the project Fluent. Wow, PMP 1, 2, no. Fluent PMP. Okay, no, I'm logged in. Sorry. Maybe. Okay, great. So now I'm going to share my screen.
All right. Okay. Hey, you've taken 5 tests. Good for you.
Okay, so once you log in, this is what you can do several things here. This is a great way of preparing. This is an important part of your preparation. I really encourage you to take as many tests as you can. So let's go here to, once you log in, you should be able to see something very similar to this.
Yeah,
so if you go to take a test, if you click on select, take a test, that should take you to a section that says standard tests. So over there, you're going to have several options. You're going to see those PMP mock exam light. You can do it by knowledge area. For example, we were covering project management framework. So I would strongly encourage you to start this week. For the rest of this week, whenever you get a chance to log in and start taking those tests on knowledge, on at least on the subject that we covered, which is project management framework, and also project integration management, which we're going to start covering today. So those are a few things that I really would like you to start doing. And the beauty of this is that you can take this by knowledge area, but you can also go to custom tests here. And let's do one really quick. You can do them by knowledge area, or you can do them by process group. So once we cover most of the material, this is going to be, we can do it by process group. And let's do that one really quick. Let's see. Include from all process groups, and it's just 5 questions here. So it's really simple. And let's do one quick test so you can see it. So it's going to generate the test. And then you see it here. Once you create the test yourself with as many questions, it's going to show you created September 20th, 23rd in this case, but it's going to show you the day when you created the custom. And you can put as many as 200 questions. That's the real, by the way, the PMP test has 200 questions.
Is it timed?
Yes, it's 4 hours. You have 4 hours. And you're going to 4 hours for the test. I'm gonna also train you on that. So we're gonna be working on 60 seconds. I mean, if you have 200 questions, in theory you have 75 seconds to answer the questions, but we're gonna work based out of 60. And the reason for that is that you need to build your time because some of the questions are going to take longer to answer, and you want to answer all of the questions. You don't want to leave any questions empty. So you want to answer all of the questions, and we're going to work. That's part of the strategy that we're going to work on to build your time. There's some of the questions that you're going to be able to answer quickly, and that's how you build your that's how you save your time and build your time, because you're going to need believe me, most likely you're going to use most of the 4 hours. It's really, it sounds like a lot, but it's not really when you have the questions. So let's take a look really quick at, so you see in this case, they're giving you 6 minutes to complete the 6 questions. And the correct answer to pass is 3. That'll be 60%. Now, that's another thing that I want to tell you about the test. The grading, exactly how the project, the PMI does the grading, that's a black box. That's a secret that they keep. They don't really tell you exactly, oh, you pass with 60%. It's a pass or fail test. So I can tell you that there are 5 process groups, right? And planning, if you look at page 61, that's the process group that has the most
yeah, you showed me yesterday.
Yeah, processes. So that when they evaluate you, they're going to see if you don't do well in planning, you're not going to pass the test. As simple as that. So planning has a higher weight compared to closing or initiating. So you have to do well in the questions that are related to planning. So that's why those are little things. Well, let's take this test really quick. Take a couple of minutes here. You're about to start, and so let's start the test really quick so you can start seeing the type of questions. And this is very similar to how the test is going to be. So these are the type of questions. I mean, this is coming up. You see the clock here. So the clock is ticking, and you're answering your questions. So you always have four options. So as a project manager, you're concerned with both prevention and inspection of errors in a work product. The difference between prevention and inspection is?
I got a different question than you, bro. I'm already in question number 2, so I don't know.
You're not. Can you see what I'm doing or no?
Yeah, but I was taking a test at the same time as you.
Okay. No, I was just doing. So let's do this one really quick, and
Right.
then just as an example. So you have the 4 options, and then inspection is done by the QC quality control team, whereas prevention is done by the quality assurance team. Inspection refers to keeping errors out of the process, whereas prevention refers to keeping errors out of the hands of the customer. Prevention refers to keeping errors out of the process, whereas inspection refers to keeping errors out of the hands of the customer. Inspection and prevention refer to the same activity. So I know that that's not it. Just for the sake of it, we haven't covered this. So just for the sake of it, I'm going to choose option 1, and then we'll see the results. The testers on the software development project you're managing have said repeatedly that the processes required to certify each release are overkill and are actually much more work than is required. The project is slightly ahead of schedule. What do you do? So you do nothing. Full testing is required for quality assurance. Explain to the team why the testing processes are required. Implement a continuous improvement program for testing processes. Advise the testers that they can test the software any way they wish, as long as the documented requirements are met. So what do you want to choose? And remember, we haven't covered this yet, but this is a type scenario question.
Yeah. Sorry, to be honest with you, yo tenía el otro examen abierto y I'm getting confused with the 2 questions. The tester on the software development project you are managing have said repeatedly that the process required to certify each release are overkill and are actually much more work than required. The project is slightly ahead of schedule. What do you do? Do nothing, full testing required. Explain to the team why the testing process are required. Implement continuous improvement process testing. Advise the testers that they can test the software any way they wish. No, the last one ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Implement a continuous improvement program for testing. I don't know what the fuck that is. Explain to the team why the testing process are required.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. And this is just an exercise, so you can see the test. I mean, we're not really working on the answers, so let's just, for the sake of time, let's just choose that. So, and let's move on to the next one. So, Sally, question number 3. Sally, a project manager who is a PMP, discovered that there had been an error in the estimation of a project. A certain cost had been double calculated. As a result, the budget, which had already been approved, was now in excess by $25,000. She's aware that publicizing this information may cause her to get a poor performance appraisal, since her company is meticulous about such matters. What should she do? Option A: she does not need to do anything, since this will have a positive impact on the project spend and margins. I don't think so. Since the excess funds won't be required, she can now use the funding to make additional investments for the project. I don't think so either. She should bring this to the notice of the appropriate stakeholders and have the necessary steps taken to decrease the budget. That sounds like it. She does not need to do anything since the budget has already been approved. The situation,
Right.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with C just for the sake of it, and we'll see how good we can be.
Hey, I got 80% on the test I took, by the way.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You're ready for the PMP, man. So
You're a funny man. All right.
what is the process of random?
Now we're really paying attention to this. What is the process of random selection and inspection of a work product? What is the process of random selection and control charting, statistical sampling, benchmarking?
It's actually statistical sampling.
That's how much I know.
Yeah, but it's all right. We'll cover that in quality. During a weekly staff meeting, Jane, these are the type of questions that are going to come up, like scenarios like this. Jane, another project manager and certified PMP, reports that a project she's running completed successfully the night before. However, you know that there are still several large outstanding deliverables. What do? You file a complaint with PMI.
Ain't gonna do shit. Notify the project manager supervisor.
Notify the project manager supervisor and file a complaint with PMI.
No, brother, the last one.
Do nothing and notify the project managers. Okay, just for the sake of it, we only have, let's choose that one.
Yeah, choose that one. Why would I tell PMI about another project manager?
Yeah, we'll see. So here you go. Then you have time to review, and this is actually, and then we're gonna go with it's gonna grade it. So, we scored 40%, man. We only got 2 right.
I suck. Which ones
so we'll see. So the test. So this is the beauty of it, because it tells you the wrong one. So the first one we got it wrong. So it says prevention. The correct response was prevention refers to keeping errors out of the process, whereas inspection refers to keeping errors out of the hands of the customer. So, and then it tells you the reason. It tells you why prevention refers to keeping errors out of the process, and while inspection refers to keeping errors out of the hands of the customer. And it tells you where in the PIN book is this information, page 250 of the PIN book. And we said that inspection is done by the QC team, whereas inspection is. So that's that. Then the testers, the second one, the testers of the software were development. So what the project is slightly ahead of schedule. So what should we do? The right response was implement a continuous improvement program for testing purposes. So it kind of tells you what implementing a continuous program to optimize, add, or remove testing processes is the best choice. Project managers are bound by the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct to follow all processes and policies in place. So that's that. Then the third one, what should we do with the budget? And that one we got right. She should bring this to the notice of the appropriate stakeholders and have the necessary steps taken to decrease the budget. So yeah, that's what you should do. That's part of the. It's part of the code of ethics. So you see page 4. There's also a code of ethics, and it also tells you which knowledge area is related to and which process group. So this is going to be, you know, when you take your test, you can see which knowledge area, which process group, what was your response, and where were the incorrect responses. So, and the other one, the statistical sampling, that's the process of random selection and inspection of a work product. So that's page 240, and it's quality management. And then the last one, since she is the key there, I kind of saw where that was coming from. Yeah. She's a project manager and a certified PMP, so she's bound by the code of ethics and professional conduct. So this is one of the things that I was telling you, that this is utopia and not. I will have answered, you know, the same thing that you chose, because you don't want to throw anybody under the bus with PMI, but this is how the PMI thinks. I mean, that is a violation. What she's doing is a violation of the code of ethics. So that's why you're supposed to notify the manager and file a complaint with PMI. But in real world, we know that it's not the case. You're not gonna do that, you know. Yeah. But so that's a very good example of
you know. Yeah, and Orlando, that's a great example for you to show me, because it goes back to what you said yesterday, which is you don't take the test with how you manage, how it is in your workplace. You take the test with a PMI.
Correct. You're taking a PMI test, and that's why I want you to. And my experience has been with people like you that have a lot of experience. I can tell you, there's a project manager at my old place at Florida Hospital. He's been a project manager for 20 years, and he actually had taken the test 3 times, and why? Because he said, I've been doing this for 20 years, and he's a successful project manager. He's a senior project manager, actually. But the problem is that he was answering the questions based on his experience, and didn't realize it took 3 times, or actually at his 4th try. That's when he realized that the questions have to be answered following the PMI. Not your own experience. So it's kind of hard to take off to take off the hat that you have and as a project manager and put on the PMI hat. I mean, it's kind of it's hard, but that's the way it is. So you have to answer the things based on the PMI. It's the utopia. You're actually thinking about utopia. So you see, that's a wrong question that you could easily have gotten right in the test. So,
but I like my results better. I got 4 to 5. Ha!
There you go.
Aquí I made a couple of mistakes in your test.
Yeah, that's how we learn. So the beauty of this is that you have this, you have access to this until December. You have 3 months. You can log in. It's a software as a service, so you can log in basically from anywhere. You just need an access to a browser, log in with your username and account, and you can take as many tests as you can. And once we are down to once we cover all the processes, you can take on your own. I did like 3 or 4. You can take a 200 question test like the PMP. So you get used to it. This is the PMP exam is a marathon. So you have to train for that. You really have to train and get used to it. I can tell you that when you take your 200 test question at home, you're going to be doing it quicker. So you're gonna see that. But I'm gonna train you to do the 60 seconds per question, and also the questions that you know right away, you answer them right away so you can save up the time. So that's part of working on the strategy for the test. So you can build up your time, and when you get to a long paragraph question that you need to do some calculations, because you might need to do some simple. I don't think it's going to be that complex, where you may apply some of the formulas, and you need time for that. So that's how you build up your time. So, and then ideally you're going to have enough time at the end of the test, when once you answered your 200 questions, to review, because there are going to be some of them that you mark for review. If they're too long, you mark them for, or you're spending too much time on them, you mark them for review. So then you move on to the next one, answer as many as you can, and then go back to the ones that you mark for review. You can do that. So that way you can answer your 200 questions, and then you're in better shape. But these are little things that are going to make the difference. We're going to train for that. But this is important. You each week try to work on the knowledge areas that we covered, and make sure that you are actually, taking the test. And I'm going to be monitoring you. I can see your progress here. How many tests have you taken? So I'll be paying attention to that, because it's important for you to.
Oye, la única cosa es que I was listening to what you were saying. Believe me, I was, and I went. While you're talking, I'm clicking around, and when I went back in to take a test again, it gave me the same test. Well, how do you take a different test?
You might want to add more questions. If you take only 5, then it should have more. You should have a bigger variety. So you should increase in the number of questions. You should be able to get different.
But it's going to ask you the same questions over and over. So if I go from 5 to 10, it's going to ask me the 5 that I already answered, right?
No, it should have more than that. It should have more than that. So.
Okay. I don't mean to interrupt you, man. But go ahead.
No. That's fine. That's a good question. So just just go over them. The good thing about this is that they're based out of these questions are based out of PMP 5th edition. So they are this content is valid. So and remember, no one really has access to the real thing. I mean, the PMI is very jealous with their actual questions, but this is what I used when I took my test. These same questions, and I learned that out there in the internet, there's some websites that you can get some practice tests, but the problem is that it might not be based out of current content. So you want to make sure that it's based out of PMP 5th edition, because there are changes, and these are guaranteed that are basically based out of the right content, and you're gonna get the right explanation on why and all of that. So just work on that, and take some of the questions that. And as we progress, like I said, as we progress, you're going to be able to take questions from different process groups, and then it's all going to make sense. So try to enjoy that, and try to take as many as you can. This is really what's going to get you sharp for the test. All right. So do you have any questions about the test or the portal?
Nope. I'm going to sign off, right? I sign off the portal?
Yeah, I'm going to sign off too. And so log in. You're free to log in from anywhere. I mean, this is your.
Before let me index to my work.
Yeah, take advantage of it and really enjoy it.
Hold on a second. What the fuck is it? Eso me mandaron ahí. Esto fue idiota. Fuck me. I'll try to find the email you sent me.
With the agenda?
No, I got that. No, the email you sent me with the login. I had it right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to forward that to my work. Let me do that now. Oh, my foot. Oh, my God. I hurt it. Wow. Okay. Sorry, man.
No, sorry to hear that you're in pain, man. So that's
The pain is like a knife stuck to your Achilles. All right.
Okay. So let's go over. I wanted to start with the process groups. Let's move on with the process groups now. Let me know when you're ready.
No, I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we said, so how many process groups do we have?
5.
Okay, and where are they? Their names?
What are they, you said?
Yeah, where are the names of the process groups?
All right, hold on. I'm not looking. Okay, so I'm going to say initiating, planning, execution, or executing, monitoring and validation, I guess. I forgot. Control.
Controlling, yeah.
Control and validation, I think, no?
Monitoring, controlling, and closing.
No, closing is the last one.
Yeah.
But there was monitoring, control, and validation, or monitoring, control only?
No, just monitoring and controlling.
That's, let's see, planning, initiate planning, execution, monitoring. Yeah, okay, I got them all. Bang!
Yeah, there you go.
So closing, I know, because closing is the easiest one.
Yeah, closing is the easiest one. Yeah. So, and then work on the knowledge areas. Remember the phrase, the mnemonics. The
cop that likes to eat popcorn, I think, or something.
It's not close.
Yeah, I know. Coffee.
Yeah, I see 2 cops quietly having coffee, reading paper samples.
Yeah.
So that's the mnemonics phrase that really helped me because I was mentally doing integration, C scope, 2 time management, and so on. So you can do the mental association, and you'll see that it's going to click with repetition for that. Those you got to know them by heart too. You got to know by heart your process groups, and you have to know all of your knowledge areas, the 10 knowledge areas that we have. Okay, so let's go over the process groups. So with initiating, it's basically those processes that are going to define a new project or a new phase of the project, and it starts with obtaining authorization to start either the project or the phase. So that's before the project actually starts. There's a lot of work before that, like we were saying yesterday. There's some work that the sponsor has to present the business case. That goes to the board of directors, and depending on the structure, they have to prove the business value and ROI and all those metrics that they have in order to make sure that it's a go no go with the project. So there's a lot of stuff that happens before, but for the purposes of project management and this methodology, there is those processes are the boundary when the project actually starts. That's with the creation of the project charter.
Yeah.
So that's when it starts, and that's where you're going to be working the project. So what happens before it's acknowledged, but it's really not it's not part of the. Let's say it's what you're going to be evaluated on is when the project actually starts with the project charter. So actually, it tells you here when the project charter is approved, the project becomes officially authorized. Okay, and for the purposes of
by the way, you know that's bullshit, right?
Yes, because
in Bank United, you know the project is going to start when the steering committee approves it. Now, officially, the project starts when the charter is signed.
Yes, and that's what they're trying to say. So when the project charter is created and signed, that's when the project officially starts. So, but we know and in some cases, I mean, they say here, you're going to see another difference with the project charter is that according to PMI, the project sponsor is the one that works is the one that creates the project charter. That's not true. In real life, the project manager, the project sponsor usually doesn't know what to do with that, and they get someone, usually the project manager, that's going to be working on that and helps them with the project charter. Yep. But for PMI, is the project sponsor, the one that works on the project charter. So that's a difference in how to look at it. So just to make sure that you have it clear. So the project charter belongs to, and you'll see when we go to that process. So that's when it's officially authorized, when the project charter is created, and there's only two processes that are part of initiating. Basically, the first one is develop project charter, which we're going to see in a little bit, and then the last one is identify stakeholders. So those are the only two project processes out of the 47 that are part of initiating. So those are the things that we need to cover. Then the second process group is planning. This is where a project manager spends most of his or her time working on. You're going to see there are 16 processes that are part of planning. They basically, what you're trying to do you're trying to measure the total scope of the effort. You're defining and refining the objectives of the work, and basically setting up the strategy, setting up the approach or the course of action on how to achieve the goals of the project. That's what you do with planning.
Let me ask you a question. You're a smart guy.
Sure.
Right? So I'm working on a project. Today's the first status meeting. And we have auditing there. And auditing is very familiar with our process. And I'm reporting to auditing. Remember, we have several stages of our project, right? We have initiate, plan, execute, which is divided into 3, design, build, and testing. And then we have close, and then we got, and part of close is the post-implementation. Okay?
The post-implementation, yeah.
So I go in and I'm throwing this out as a question to you and to how would PMI handle this. So I go in and I'm reporting to all these people that we have begun, we're in the middle of plan, but we're already started with design and build. How is that possible?
Well, another difference with in regards to real life and PMI. So PMI, you're gonna see all of the processes that we're gonna be covering in planning. So for the PMI, ideally planning should happen. All your processes in planning should happen before to move on to executing, where you're going to be developing.
So then PMI is utilizing a waterfall methodology.
Somewhat, somehow, yes, you could say that. But in real life, that happens in parallel.
I mean, you're working on your planning, and then you're starting your design. Once you at least your technical design documents and your um, the blueprint of the project, if you guys do that, and the technical blueprint, and you're starting with that as well. So you're doing your planning as you're building your. I mean, you're working on your project plan, I'm sure, and at least you have the big chunks, maybe not decomposed as you want, but they're working already on the technical documentation at least. And
the answer to my question is very simple. Is in order to understand planning, right? In order to understand if the initial project plan that you put together makes sense, you got to understand the requirements. And
yes,
the requirements you're really designing, because you're really, there's a gray line, there's a gray barrier. This is me. This is Lucio Ballard, PMI. So this is LBI, Lucio Ballard Institute, right? So in my particular case, in planning, we're doing the chart of accounts and data mapping because we need to understand the impact, the quantity of the work. So since we're already analyzing that, we're already building that. Because you're not going to analyze it and not build it. That'll be stupid.
Yes.
So, but when you're building it and you're documenting it, that's really design.
Yes.
So we started design. I was explaining this to Oddity. You know, and then what happens is part of build is building your environment. You build your environment and you install the software. But I'm not going to wait until fucking design is over. I built my environment already, and I installed the software. So all we need to do is configure as we go along. So I will close planning and have design almost closed at the same time.
Yeah, they run in parallel. Like I was saying, in the real world, they run in parallel.
Because you're a smart man.
Those two, I mean, they should, and you always plan to have. I mean, in the project plans, I mean, you usually try to, before going from one phase to another, as much as you can do in the previous one, you know, you always try to be as proactive as possible. You know, you start working on your test scripts way before you get to testing. I mean, once you're done with all of that, I mean, you have that in your test. That's even though that's part of your testing, but you're already creating your test scripts, you know, way ahead of the game, you know. So
right now, I have a bigger appreciation for you, man, because you and I think alike. I tell the BAs, the minute you close, while you're building the BRD. Building it with the test scripts in mind.
Exactly.
So the minute you close the BRD, you start working on test scripts.
Start working on your test scripts, yeah, and that's how you get the lax.
I mean, the business builds the test scripts, but you know, we work with them. And I said that's key. And I had a BA that pushed back on me because the BA said, "Hey, Lucio, the business creates the test scripts." I go, "You don't be a fucking idiot. Do the test scripts now when it's fresh in everybody's mind with the business, and then you got it out of the way so we advanced." Yes. Because there's a lull between the BRD and the test scripts. There's a lull. You got fucking build. So when people are building shit, or even before they start building it, start building your test scripts. You and I think like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it should be. And number one, because those are the way I look at it, those test scripts are going to be tied up to the requirements, and once they're finished with the BRD, they have it fresh in their mind, like you said. You can, and it's going, and the business has it fresh in their minds as well, and that's going to be tied up to a deliverable. So that deliverable, you have to trace it back to a requirement. So if you write your test scripts, so at that time, then chances are that it's more aligned with the actual requirement, because you know, things tend to forget, and it's a way of being ahead of the game. That's
And I end with this, and I'll leave you alone because I know we got to go through this thing.
yeah.
I
No,
will-
well, that's fine. So
All right.
no, great. So we are. So the planning that you have 16 processes. I mean, that's where basically you develop your approach and your strategy for the project. I mean, the planning phase covers all of the knowledge areas, all of the 10 different knowledge areas, and with several processes. That's where we're gonna be spending a lot of time covering that. So you can cover all those bases. I mean, if you see, initiating only covers integration management and stakeholder management. Planning covers all of the 10 different knowledge areas. So when it also develops the approach for change management, which is really important to keep in mind. I mean, change is always a constant in the project, and you know that for a fact. That's part of the life of a project management. Projects are dynamic in nature, and meaning that they're going to change. So, but for that, especially, you're gonna have, what you're gonna do here is to also develop the approach in regards to change management. So change has to be any changes. They have to be ideally reviewed by a change control board. That is gonna, and the main goal is to review the impact to your budget, the impact to your timeline, and based on that, a decision has to be made on whether to incorporate the change or not, and have a sign off on that. So it also covers the strategy on how to deal with change management and the structures in place. And those are always that those can be painful. All right. So the executing process group, this is pretty much where the work is done. Your team is going to be working on is going to be working on, these are all the processes related to the actual project work, and this is where you're going to be managing that project work. You're going to be also doing some quality assurance, making sure, and quality assurance is while the work is being done, before the final product is actually completed. So while it's being done, that's when you do QA. QC is after the fact, after the work is completed. That's when you do QC, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. So yeah, so those are. What's that?
QC is quality control.
Yes, QC is quality control.
I want to make sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's done after the fact. So this is where you do all of that, and this is also during project execution. You have to keep in mind any. This is where the risk planning comes into place as well. There might be some risk is dynamic by nature too. You have to make sure that that's also being addressed as well. And basically, it's where the work in the project is being done, and you just gotta manage the project work, direct and manage. And then we move on to monitoring and controlling. That's when this is where you're gonna track and review and analyze and measure the progress and the performance of the project. And if there's some changes that are needed, you have to apply those changes. So this is where you're going to measure: are we on time? Are we ahead of schedule? Are we on budget? So how are we doing? So this is where you're going to control your cost, control your schedule, your quality of the project. Another important aspect is the communication as well. Make sure that the proper communication. That. There's some authors like Harold Kersner. He says that project manager spends approximately over 60% of his or her time communicating. I think that's kind of accurate. Accurate.
Whoever the guy is, yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
Read that guy's book. or you're just throwing that out to impress me?
Actually, I know that from from not from the book, but I know that from because I read that book from Harold Kersner.
Oh, you read the book? Anyway, that's good, man.
Yeah.
You're a smart guy.
I like it. I mean, I like project management. And remember, I think I read it for one of my classes. I have a master's in project management too, from Boston University.
You're a sick man.
So that's true. So controlling those communications, that's also important. So you're controlling your cost, you're controlling your quality, controlling your schedule, um, you're controlling your scope. So basically making sure that everything, you're monitoring and controlling all those aspects of the project. And then the closing. The closing is just this is often over we tend to overlook the closing process group because it's basically, well, this is where you get acceptance of the project, you get the final sign-offs, acceptance of the customer, you when you formally close and the project. Another important aspect is document the lessons learned. We tend to overlook that because when we come to this point, we're already thinking or probably working on the next project. But it's also important to the PMI tries to. These are like the best practices. So documenting lessons learned, that might be a way to help not only you but other PMs whenever they face a similar project, they can always go back to the lessons learned. Or ideally, there's a knowledge base with the lessons learned for different projects, and they can always go back and review that and see what was learned from the challenges that you faced, and how can they overcome the challenges that they have in a similar project. So it's very useful. The PMI tries to encourage project managers and PMOs for that effect to follow this approach and documenting the lessons learned, and then updating the documentation that is part of the process, and also there can be some things involved with providing team members assessment, and then you formally release the actual resources that we're working on your project. So there are a couple of things. But if you see the closing process group, it only has two processes again, very similar to initiating. It's close project or phase, and then close procurement, because that's another knowledge area, the procurement phase, and related to contracts and all of that. So that's a brief overview in regards to the 5 process groups. So let's do something. You want to take a 5-minute break?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have 7:32. We can meet back at 7:37.
All right, man.
All righty. Talk to you in a second. All right. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, man, I'm here.
Sorry about that, man.
Nothing to be sorry about, man. I'm here reading about. I was here reading about heroes.
Oh, okay.
All right. I know you don't watch TV, but I do. So.
No, I do. They're coming up with a new season, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank God to on demand. Now you can watch all those shows.
Well, the guys I work with are convincing me to get an Amazon stick and dump cable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Amazon stick, they program it where you can watch anything you want. So,
But is that así bajo la mesa? O?
yeah, yeah, of course. But you buy it from Amazon. You buy an Amazon stick, but you need to know somebody who can program it, and then you can watch. They were telling me, they were explaining it to me. Okay, you can watch things like, new releases that are in the theater. People take a video camera and videotape it, so the quality sucks. But you can watch from that to DVD releases that are put up there.
Wow.
Everybody I know, I have several friends at work and outside of work that they all have moved to Amazon sticks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Oh yeah, they have someone in Hialeah doing that, man. So
You're not kidding.
I'm sure, man. I'm sure. I gotta talk to them.
Oh yeah, Hialeah guys, pero.
Well, let me tell you, I don't blame them because cable is $200 a month, man. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
How much I paid last month? But when my daughter was here, her and my wife had the summer off. They were order movies. I paid $260, man.
Yeah.
They ordered 10 movies at $5 to $7 a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still cheaper than the theater, but
Yeah. No, it adds up, man. It adds up. I mean, cable is very expensive. That's unbelievable, and all of them are the same. I mean, I like Comcast, but it's expensive as hell. So,
well, I got DirecTV, and when I first got DirecTV, it was cheaper than Comcast, and now I'm paying $170 normally, because as time goes on, you buy the HD, you buy the DVR, you get this. Bro, te está gastando un cojonal de dinero, man.
Yeah, no, it's very expensive. That's pretty much what I pay with Comcast now, and I got an alarm system too with them. So that's their new thing that they offer, an alarm system. But yeah, it's a lot of money. Alrighty, so let's get going. Let's get moving on with this. So the first knowledge area that we're going to work on is project integration management. So that's your I for integration.
Right.
So that starts on page 63.
All right, so I'm off the book because I only got to page 62. Let me get the okay. I'm on page 63.
Yeah, right. That's where it starts with project integration management. So in integration management, pretty much what you do, you are gonna put everything together. You're gonna see that this is gonna start making sense a little bit later, but this is where you are gonna identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management process groups. So all of the process groups and all of the knowledge areas, this is where you're gonna combine, identify, define, combine, and unify and coordinate. That's what happens in integration, project integration management. So you're gonna it touches all of the different knowledge areas, and this is where you cover about resource allocation, any trade-offs, any among competing objectives, and this is where you manage the interdependencies among the different knowledge areas, the different project management knowledge areas. So the first process, and this is the approach that we're gonna have. If you can move to page 66, we're gonna look at the processes this way. We're gonna look at the inputs. We're gonna cover the tools and techniques that are applied, and then the outputs. That's how we're going to dissect all the different processes. So the first one is develop the project charter. So the first process and the inputs that we have for developing the project charter are any statements of work, and well, before let me define. I mean, I think you're familiar. This is where the project charter is a document that establishes, the partnership between the people that are going to be doing the work for the project and the people that are requesting the project. So the sponsor, the business unit, and the team that is performing is going to be performing the work. It's a sort of an agreement. I mean, in some cases it could be an agreement, it could be a contract, if it's an external organization performing the work. So it should be authorized by the sponsor, the sponsoring authority, and it provides the purpose of the project charter is that it provides the project manager with enough authority to start planning and executing the project. So it formally allows the project to start. So that's something that it's important to keep in mind. So that's in regards to the charter. So the inputs that we have, and I'm on page 68. So is a project statement of work, an SOW. That's the first one. With a business need, then you have a project scope description. That's what's going to be covered, and a strategic plan. So those are three elements that are part of the statement of work. The statement of work, the SOW. So that's one input. Then you also have the business case for the project, and it can have some. The business case could be market demand. It could be an organizational need. It could be a compliance aspect that why the project is needed. So it's basically what are the justification in regards to a business case for the project. If it's a social need, if it's going to be might have an ecological impact, or an organizational need. So, or if it's just a customer request that you have. So basically, that's the business case. Then any agreements, any contracts that are or SLAs that could be part of related to the project, and then the two best friends are also inputs for developing the project charter. The first one, and we covered them briefly yesterday, enterprise environmental factors. Remember, any marketplace conditions that apply to the project, organizational culture and structure, and any standards or regulations that could apply, even including codes of conduct and quality standards, any governmental standards depending on the project. So that's also an input. And also your second best friend, organizational process assets. This is this includes any documentation, any templates, any policies, any process definitions, and any historical information and lessons learned of similar projects that were performed in the past by the organization. So this can contain some information as well that is going to be used to develop the project charter. So now those are the inputs. So then how are we going to work with those inputs? Then we're going to apply two tools and techniques. The first one is expert judgment, which is honestly a glorified way of calling common sense. I mean, this is the expert judgment. It's basically used, you can get that from consultants, from other stakeholders, your SMEs in the project. The PMO can provide some of that expert judgment as well. So you're gonna that expertise is gonna allow you to combine all those inputs that you have and get the information that you need out of them. And then facilitation techniques. Usually you're gonna be working in this aspect with several people. So you're going to be using some facilitation techniques to direct the discussions and the meetings, and including brainstorming, conflict resolution, some problem solving. I'm sorry, and meeting management. So you're going to be, the project manager is usually going to be the facilitator and direct in directing the meeting and be able to get that information from the different sources that you have, the different inputs that you have, to get that information flowing and be able to apply it. And what do you get out of it? The output is the actual document, the project charter. So the project charter, as we said, is the document issued by the project initiator or sponsor. So that's what I was telling you before. The one in the PMI world, the one that writes the project charter is the sponsor, with the assistance of the project manager. And no, I'm sorry. It formally authorizes the existence of the project, and it provides the project manager with enough authority to apply organizational resources to project activities, basically to start working on the project. This is where the project starts once the project charter is created, it documents business needs, assumptions, constraints, and also the understanding of the customer needs and high-level requirements. This is a 50,000 feet high-level understanding of the project. That's the information contained in the project charter. So very high level, and also has, of course, information about the product, the result that you're trying to create with the project. So it also has some information like the justification, high level requirements. This is something useful for the BAs to come up with a BRD. It has assumption, constraints, risks. You start looking at high level, at least a high level risk that might be involved with the project. Description, a high level description and boundaries. Your summary milestone schedule. You can start getting some information in there from the project charter to start working on your project plan. A summary budget, also some high level information about the budget. And the stakeholder list. So something important to keep in mind as well. Some of the project approval requirements, a high level understanding of that. Who's going to be the project manager? What is the authority level and the responsibility? And also, it has the name of the sponsor and the people that are able to authorize the project charter. So that's the first process that we have. So 1 down, 46 to go. So the next one, the second process is for integration management, is develop the project management plan. You're going to notice that the sequence is going to be a little bit strange, and we're going by knowledge area. So if you look at your page 61, this is a 4.2 process in planning. And this is where you basically developing the project plan is where you put everything together. You're gonna be creating different plans on the different knowledge areas. If you look at page 61, that's where it starts making a little bit more sense. If you look at page 61, under project scope management, number 5, you see plan scope management. Then number 6, you see plan schedule management. Number 7, you see plan cost management. See number 8, plan quality management, and so on until you get to project stakeholder management. So all of the different knowledge areas, you're going to be working on creating what is called subsidiary plans for the different knowledge areas. So you're going to plan your scope management, your schedule management, your cost management, quality management, and so on. So all of those different subsidiary plans are going to come together at this particular process, develop project management plan. You're going to put everything together. So think of this as your as your actual in project in Microsoft Project, when you put everything together, you have a lot of information there with your tasks and the duration. You have the budget. So when you build your project plan, you have everything together in there. You not only have it's not only scheduled, it's an actual project management plan with all the different information from different subsidiary areas. And this is a little bit deeper than that, because it has communication, it has procurement management, stakeholder management, but it's where everything comes together. So that's what you do with develop the project management plan. So where are the inputs that we use for develop project management plan? So the first input is an output from the previous process. So that's one of the things that I was telling you as well. Usually, a previous output of the previous process is going to be an input for the subsequent process. So in this case, the first input that we have is the project charter. Project charter, as we know, high-level description of the project, high-level information about several things related to the project. So that's one of the inputs that you have from the previous process and developing project charter. The second input that we have is outputs from other processes. So if you see, that's what I was referring a second ago. So all those plans, the scope management plan, the schedule management plan, those are different outputs that are going to be, those are the outputs that are going to be inputs for this particular process. This is where you put everything together. And then your two best friends, your new best friends, the enterprise environmental factors, any governmental standards, any project management information system, organizational structure, and then your organizational process assets. Remember, any standardized guidelines, documentation, policies. If there is a project management template, a project management plan template, that can be, that's also an organizational process asset, which is common. I mean, usually PMOs, they have their own templates for that. So that's where this comes into place. And then you have project closure guidelines, change control procedures, any project files and any historical information, and configuration management knowledge base. So those are your inputs for this process. So what are the tools and techniques that we use? The first one, the glorified common sense, with that is called expert judgment. So you kind of work in develop the technical details and management details that should be included in the project management plan, the resource and skill levels needed to perform the project work, define the level of configuration management, and the documents that will be subject to the formal change control process, and prioritize the work to ensure that the project resources are allocated to the appropriate work at the appropriate time. So this is where you put everything together. The next tool and technique that we use is facilitation technique. You're going to have a lot of meetings, as you know, and for that you apply brainstorming, conflict resolution, problem solving, and meeting management to get the most out of it. And what do you get out of it? What is the output of all these tools and techniques and inputs? Is the project management plan, which has the description of the overall strategy on how the project is going to be executed, how it's going to be monitored, and how it's going to be controlled. And it integrates and consolidates all of the subsidiary plans, including scope, time, cost, quality management, human resource management, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder management. And it also has a scope baseline, a schedule baseline, and a cost baseline. And we already mentioned the subsidiary plans, and also it could also include the life cycle selected for the project. We covered some of them yesterday, which is usually provided by the organization. It could also detail the decisions that are going to be specified by the project management team. What are the the project management process selected by the project management team, what is the level of implementation, description of the tools and techniques, and description of how the selected process will be used to manage. It could also provide information regarding how the work is going to be executed. Could also have some information about the change management plan, configuration management plan, the integrity of the project baselines, requirements and techniques for communication among stakeholders, and key management reviews for content. Okay, so if you look at page 68, there's an interesting table that shows you what are the difference between the 78.
Oh.
78.
Okay.
So it shows you there what are the difference between some of the project documents in regards to the project documents and the project management plan. So it's a comparison between the two, so you can see the things that are covered. It's one of the primary documents used to manage a project, but some other documents can also be used for that.
This is the problem with the method of with this PMI shit, man. Look at the number of documents.
Yes.
That's not efficient.
No. Yeah.
This is what also struggle. This is a struggle between. I'm telling you, in real life. Fuck this.
Yeah.
But in real life, this is a struggle that we're having right now in Bank United. They have increased the number of documents we have to create from last year to this year by more than 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's redundancy and going across the board, and nobody reads the fucking documents.
No.
You've got a project manager working on documentation and not working on management.
Yes.
So the only way the people can work on both is if they extend the project. Therefore, the cost goes up.
Yes.
It's a catch-22. This is the thing that frustrates me.
But you know where that comes from, you know? It also, you can also remember, I don't know if you guys are, I'm sure that, are you guys SOX audited or?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so it comes from there. I mean, it's not really the bank being it actually comes from the audits that you guys have, and then all the projects gotta have this documentation, otherwise you're not SOX compliant. And maybe there are some other standards, I don't know, for the banking industry. I haven't worked in the banking industry, but it comes from the auditing process. You know, they kind of have to justify what they do. So it's a lot of documentation. It's a lot of documentation that it's.
Their answer is to document.
Yeah.
It's not enhancing the current documentation. It's creating another document.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens is you draw in documentation, and you got so much documentation, and people don't read it.
Yes. Yes, that is very true. They don't even read the statuses.
No, bro. I mean, come on, man. You know? Wait, we're getting audited right now. PMO is getting audited, and the shit, the stupid stuff. If I tell you the shit, they some of the stuff they mentioned, tú te ríe. It's stupidity to the nth degree. It's redundancy. It's what you hear in politics when they're talking about bureaucratic waste. It's bureaucratic waste. This is bureaucratic waste. I'm looking at these documents. I don't even have to read them. I already know half of them are useless.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this part it gets like that. So, and this is just so you know, the PIN book was put together by people from several industries. I mean, these are project management experts from different industries, and this might even come from the government itself. So there's a little bit of that. And I agree with you, but you know, like we said before, we have to know it. I mean, we have a goal. My goal with you is for you to pass your PMP exam the first time.
I'm talking to you conceptually and
No, but I'm with you. I'm totally with you. And let me tell you, in real life, a lot of these documents, you don't do this. I mean, it depends on the ones that are required, but a lot of them you don't do this, So, but I'm with you. But we have to know this, and we have to know that it exists and where it comes from. So it's a lot of different subsidiary plans and a lot of documents, like you said. Okay, so the next process for integration management is direct and manage project work. So if you look at your page 61, that's part of executing. Okay, so this is where you are gonna be. Your team is working on the building, and this is where you're gonna be managing your team based on the work that is the work that was defined, and they're working on that, and if there are any approved changes, to make sure that those are implemented. So these are the things that you're going to be doing with the team. So let's look at the inputs. The first one is the project management plan, because that has the overall strategy and the overall approach for combining the different and integrating the different knowledge areas of the project and the different subsidiary plans. So that's the first input. Then the second input is the approved change request. As we said before, there's got to be a formal change management process. Ideally and usually there's a change control board. I mean, I know that it depends on the organization, but usually that's the case, that is going to review any change request performed by the customer. So this is going to be analyzed, and it's going to be either approved or denied based on, and the analysis is going to be basically regardless on the impact to the budget and the impact to your timeline. So it has to be change is allowed, but it has to be approved, and it has to be monitored, and it has to be approved, and it has to be measured. The impact has to be measured. So if you have any approved change requests that went through the change control board, this is where you add that information to the work that is being done, and then it's an input of directing and managing the work. And the other two are your best two friends. Your best friends, enterprise environmental factors with any stakeholder risk tolerances, organizational culture, infrastructure, and the other one is organizational process assets with guidelines and work instructions, communication requirements, issue and defect management procedures, process measurement, any files from previous projects, and issue and defect management databases. So those are your two. Those are the four inputs that you're going to have for this. And how are you going to do it? Again, the glorified common sense, expert judgment. And you can get this expertise from either within the organization or outside of the organization. You have SMEs that are going to be assisting you with this. Even the stakeholders can provide input as well, the customers, the suppliers, or sponsors, and then and even professional and technical associations as well. Another tool and technique is the project management information system, which is part of the environmental factors, and this is usually an example of this will be Microsoft Project, for example. So this is where you have a scheduling tool, a work authorization system, configuration management system that actually has some automated gathering and reporting on key performance indicators, KPIs, can be part of the system. So this will be Microsoft Project or Clarity, Computer Associated Clarity, or or Primavera, whichever system that is being used for project management. Another technique that you're going to be using is a lot of meetings. So you're going to be able to exchange information. Some of the techniques that you can apply are brainstorming. You can evaluate some options, and another important aspect is the decision making. So meetings should, and this is a good advice. They even tell you here in the pin book that they should be prepared with a well-defined agenda, with a purpose, an objective, and a time frame, and also be able to document meeting minutes and action items. Meeting minutes should be stored and distributed among the different team members and stakeholders, and as it is defined in the organization. And they recommend the meetings are more efficient when all participants can be face-to-face. We know that usually that's not the case. It's very hard to have everybody in the same location, but ideally a face-to-face interaction it's usually more effective. But also you can do virtual meetings and so on. So basically, those are a couple of good recommendations in regards to meetings. And then what did you get out of direct and managed project work? What are the outputs? There's some, the first one, and very important, is the deliverables. First one is a deliverable is a unique and verified product that is the result of or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced in order to complete a process, phase, or project. So you can trace them back to the requirements, and ideally a deliverable should be traced back to a requirement. There are typical tangible components completed that to meet the project objectives and can include elements of the project management plan. Then you also have work performance data, which are raw observations and measurements identified during the activities or tasks. I wanted to point that out. You're not going to find the word tasks in the pin book. They say activities, but it's the same thing.
Okay.
So make a note of that. When you see activities, they're talking about tasks, but they don't. That's the word that they use.
Okay.
So measure. This is a raw observation, the work performance data. When the work was being performed, then these are the raw observations, and can be it's the lowest level of detail in which information is derived for other processes. And this data can be used to control. This is the data that you get through work execution, and you can use it to control the process areas to perform some analysis. It's some raw data that will allow you to analyze the work that has been done, and then to be able to measure the performance of the project. Then another important output of this process, and this I want to take a couple of minutes, is the change requests. So there might be some new. I know that we use as one of the inputs were approved change requests, but as a result of this process of direct and managed project work, you might have some new change requests that are usually it's just a proposal to modify or to make changes to any deliverable or the baseline, or even the baseline of the project. So an approved change request is going to replace the associated document, deliverable, or baseline, and can result in an update to other parts of the project plan. Usually the project plan is going to change once a change request is approved. But remember, they got to be evaluated by the change control board. The change request can include corrective action, CAs, that is an intentional activity that realigns the performance of the project work with the project management plan. A preventive action This ensures that future performance of the project work is aligned with the project management plan. It could also include defect repair, an intentional activity to modify a non-conforming product or product component. This is something after the fact, after you went live, and this could be a change request for a defect, and then updates, which are going to be changes to formally controlled documents, project documents or plans to reflect any modified or additional ideas or content. So those are the type of change requests that you have. Corrective action, preventive action, defect repair, and updates. So please pay attention to that. That usually, that's a typical question on that. And if you can, that's on page 85. So make sure that you.
I'm on page 85.
Okay. So if you can make a note on that to make sure that you highlight it, because usually that's one of the typical questions in the test. They ask you about change requests. So it's important that you understand the different types and what is a change request. And then the other output is updates to the project management plan. They can include updates to the scope management plan, the requirements management plan, schedule management plan, cost, quality, and process management plans, human resource, communication, basically to the different subsidiary plans. It can include a lot of information on that. And then other project documents can be updated. So the requirements documentation can change, the project logs, including issues, assumptions, etc. Your risk register can change and might need to be updated, and your stakeholder register can change as well. So you have to update that information. So that's it for direct management. Direct and manage project. So now we move on to the next two processes, and we are in monitoring and controlling. So the next process is monitoring and control project work. Oh, by the way, before I move on, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Let me know when you have a question so I can stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're not shy. That you are not, my friend. So, and that's good. So when the next process is monitoring and control project work. This is where you're gonna measure the process. You're gonna track it, review, and measure the progress of the performance of your project. That's basically what you're gonna be doing here. What do we get out of this? The main benefit, the most important benefit of this is that you have a really good idea on the current state of the project. You're gonna be able to see and compare the budget, the schedule, and with the forecasting to see how you're doing. What are your actuals versus your plan? So you're going to be able to do a lot of that with monitoring and controlling. So the inputs that you have for this process, the first one is the project management plan. Remember, that's where you have the overall strategy, including all of the subsidiary plans that cover all of the knowledge areas for all of the project management knowledge areas. So the second input that you have is the schedule forecast. So these forecasts are derived from progress against the schedule baseline and the estimated to complete. So your ETCs, your estimate to complete. Okay, so and I'm 100% sure that you're familiar with what a baseline is and all of that, right? I'm sure you use that, and so
yeah.
You want me to take some time on that, or you?
No, you baseline your project. That's
yeah. It's a snapshot, just
Yeah.
a snapshot that you take of the project at the beginning. I know for a fact that there's a limitation with Microsoft Project. You can only do, I think it's only 11 times. You can base on your project 11 times. But I haven't met a project manager that has done 11, that has based on the project 11 times. So I think that's more than enough. Usually you do it at the beginning, then halfway there, and then at the end, and then you compare your if so. I mean, some people only do it twice. It depends on that. So basically, it's just a snapshot. So this is where you, with your forecast, is derived from from progress against the schedule baseline and your ETC, your estimate to complete. So, and that's usually presented in a schedule variance. So there's going to be a variance. And another metric that is important, which is a schedule performance index, your SPI. And your SPI is going to tell you how you're doing, if you're on time, if you're not on time. We're going to cover that a little bit later, but it's just a metric that tells you whether your project is on time or not. And it's based out of 1 is 100%. So, and there's usually some thresholds. I don't know if you guys use those metrics at the bank, but there's some accepted thresholds for the schedule variance, and your SPI can be, I mean, most of the time it's not going to be 1, but there are some thresholds that are defined below and above. So basically that's one of the ways that you measure whether how your schedule, how your timeline is doing, how your schedule is doing. So that's one of the. Do you guys use? Are you familiar with SPI? By any chance?
So we use Workfront, so a lot of those calculations are done for us. But I'm not that familiar with SPI.
Okay, it's simple.
Yeah.
SPI. There are two. You have SPI, so Scheduled Performance Index, and
Right.
then we have CPI, which is Cost Performance Index. We're going to cover them, so don't worry. I just wanted to know if you guys use that or not. But basically, those are metrics. It's metrics that are saying that are going to tell you really quick if your project is on schedule and it's on, or if your project is on budget. So it's metrics that you're going to use, and this can be useful. This is very useful, and there's a formula and a calculation that you can do for that. Do you guys use Microsoft Project or what do you guys use?
No, we use Workfront.
Workfront,
Which used to be AdTask.
No, I'm not familiar with that one. I know Clarity. At Royal, we use Clarity and with another software that came with it, and Microsoft Project. That's what I've been using for the most part.
No, I use Microsoft Project, and every company I work for, except this one.
Yeah.
No, we don't use Microsoft Project. We use Workfront. And Workfront, basically, you put all your tasks. It's very similar, but it's all electronic.
Oh, okay.
So and you can supposedly you can put your budget in there, but they found that that's not very efficient. So they're looking for a different solution for next year.
Oh, okay.
But they don't use Microsoft Project.
Yeah, that's it's it's not, at least it's the most widely used. Yeah, it works. It can be a little bit cumbersome though, but it works. And then so that's one of the inputs, the schedule forecast, and then the cost forecast. The same thing that it's basically it comes from the cost variance. Comparing your cost baseline and your estimate to complete. So then this is where the CPI, your cost performance index, comes into place. So and this is also, you can compare your estimated completion compared to the budgeted completion to see if your project is still within tolerance ranges or a change request is required. If you see that you're going to be over budget, this is basically these metrics prevent an accident from happening. It'll tell you the health of the project in regards to cost and schedule. So CPI is for cost performance index. It's another metric that we're going to be we're going to be covering that in detail because of that. So you have schedule forecast, you have cost forecast, you have validated changes, which are approved changes after you apply your change control processes. So then you also have work performance information, which is that performance data collected from other controlling processes that are analyzed in context and integrated between the different areas. This data by itself cannot be used in the decision-making process, so it's kind of out of context. So the work performance information is correlated and is put into a context. So this can give you a very good, very valuable information when it comes to making the decisions regarding the project. So that's the difference between work performance data and work performance information. The information is digested, is put into context, and it serves the purpose of providing you with ammunition for the decision-making process. And then the last two inputs, your two new best friends. Again, any enterprise environmental factors, any standards, any stakeholder risk tolerances, organization, work authorization systems, any project management information system, and last but not least, the organizational process assets. We have any communication requirements for the organization, financial controls procedures, issue and defect management, change control procedures, risk control procedures, process measurement database, and lessons learned database. So those are the inputs that we have. Then what are the tools and techniques that we use? So here we use the first one again, expert judgment or glorified common sense with your SMEs. The second one is analytical techniques. This is where you try to, these analytical techniques are going to allow you to forecast potential outcomes based on possible variations of project or environmental variables and the relationship with other project variables. So these analytical techniques that can be used are regression analysis, grouping methods, cost analysis, root cause analysis, forecasting methods, failure mode and effect analysis, FMEA, fault tree analysis, reserve analysis, trend analysis, and the one that really comes to that is really useful for us. The previous ones not so much, but this one, error value management and various analysis. Those two we can definitely use. We're going to be covering error value management later. Then the other techniques that we use are the project management information system and meetings. Basically, you'll be having a lot of meetings to monitor, to cover this monitoring and control process work. And then the outputs that we get are, again, change requests. Any changes, and I think we covered them already. Any change requests that can be in the form of corrective action, preventive action, or defect repair. We're also going to get some reports on work performance reports. How are we doing in regards to these reports are in regards to the work performance for the project, and this can be useful when it comes to generating decisions and actions and awareness. So this project information can be communicated verbally from person to person, but it's recommended to record, store, and distribute work performance information as using electronic means in the form of project documents. The next output that we have is project management plan updates. So we have again, some of the subsidiary plans might need to be updated. Scope, requirements, schedule, cost, quality, scope, and even the baselines might need to be updated as well. Your baseline can change based on the changes that are approved. So you might need to re-baseline. So that's an update to this to some of the baselines, and then some updates to the project documents. Your schedule might need to be updated. Your work performance reports can be updated, and your issue logs can be updated as well. So that's that. Then we have the last two. So we have the next one is before that, any questions?
No, but we're getting close to stopping time, bro. Because my brain is starting to get full.
Okay. I don't want to. Yeah, I might. So let's do something. We have two more processes. So I want to mark it here. So we'll still have. I don't want to really overwhelm you. Because I really want you to digest this information. So let's do. I'm gonna mark these two to make sure that we cover them in the next session. Perform integrate change control, and then the last one that we have, which is close project or phase. So those two shouldn't take that long. Yeah, I don't really want to overwhelm you. So
not only that, I've had a long 4 or 5 weeks. And the project I'm on is a killer. And some of the stuff we cover, I want to be honest with you, some of the stuff, I think it's enlightenment is good. Some of the stuff pisses me off.
Yeah.
You go, what a fucking bunch of bullshit. But some of it, I look at it and I go, coño, this makes sense. This is what we do.
Yeah, it's same thing happened to me. When it comes to documentation, I see a lot of redundancy, and let me tell you, my professors when I did my master's, I got my master's from Boston University, and they are actually accredited by the PMI. Their program is accredited by the PMI, and they follow the PMI guidelines, and it's really in tune with what the PMI does. But as academics, they were telling us that if the PIM book is written in a way, it's very poorly written. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo here. There's a lot of excessive redundancy and a lot of things it's not really well written. And they don't include they were actually telling us that they didn't want to invite the academics to the meetings that they have, the PMI has, in order to come up with newer versions of the PIM book. But there's a reason for that. This is done in a way that it's not meant to be easy for anybody. They tried. I think there's a purpose behind it. They do certain things here. It's like decoding the Da Vinci Code. They write it in a way, because if they wrote in a way that it was easy to understand, anybody could take the test and pass the test and be a PMP.
It's called money.
Yes. At the end of the day, that's exactly what my professor said. Exactly what they said. And of course, they embellished the reasoning, but that's what it is.
I have this argument with a coworker. Okay, so yo tengo I got a coworker friend of mine who's Venezuelan. And much like your brother, he's gay. He's not here to defend himself. So for example, he's part of this organization that he goes to. In fact, 2 program managers and him go to. That is a place that you go and they teach you how to handle situations, you know, in the sense of, you know, interpersonal skills, all this crap. So I told him, he wanted me to join. And I said to him, man, I'm not going to join your fucking cult. Entonces, you know, yo sé que se molestó un poco, pero me sigo jodiendo. And he tells me, Lucio, this is really good, man. You do things for the community. And you learn a lot about yourself. And I've become a better person for it. And I looked at him, I go, man, I'm happy that you're a better person, but I'm also going to tell you you're full of shit. You're not doing it because you're a better person. You're doing it because you want to make yourself feel that you're better than what you are. You're a good person as it is. And so they go, let me ask you a question. What do you do? And he goes, oh, no, we do projects for the community. I go, so you go and spend your own fucking time, personal time, to do a project, okay? Who gets the credit? And he goes, well, I go, I know who gets the credit. That fucking company. And on top of that association, and on top of that, are you paying for this? He goes, yeah, I'm paying for courses. So let me get this straight. You're paying for you to do a project that a company is going to get credit for, so people think good about the company, and then more people join it and they make more money? Fuck. I told him, I wish I thought of that. I go, look, man, I already work in too many projects during the day to come home and work on my own projects. Work on projects for free.
Yeah.
And le digo, I understand what you're getting out of it. You're saying you're working for the betterment of the community. And I applaud you for that. But if you're going to do something for the community, don't do it under a company. Do it under yourself.
Yeah.
You know, entonces it's all a gimmick.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all a gimmick. Toda esta gente como el comienza ese, Robbins ese. I knew a Venezuelan girl. Man, what's wrong with you Venezuelans? I knew a Venezuelan woman que went with her husband to Fiji. Oye, eso no es cheap. She went to Fiji with her husband on a Robbins retreat. I forgot what the guy's first name is, but his last name is Robbins. You know, he's on TV all the time.
Yeah, I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
They went over there and they ate crappy food because the guy said you gotta eat healthy to cleanse yourself. And then she told me that her husband got a colon cleansing. I go, whoa, wait a second. Your husband went on vacation to Fiji, ate crappy food because it was dietary food, and then he got a hole stuck up his ass. And she goes, you're putting it very vulgar. And I go, oh, really? How should I put it?
Yeah.
She goes, no, but you don't understand. We clean our minds. I go, man, you know what the problem is? You're searching for a solution, and you want somebody to make you feel better.
Yeah, yeah.
You listen to this guy's bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It's like the televangelist, you know? Remember the televangelist in the 80s?
Of course.
It's the same thing with a different approach, but it's the same thing. So
it's all the same shit. And,
yeah.
and maybe I'm becoming cynical as I get older, pero I tell you, man, all this, I see this whole thing with PMI and PMP for years. I've seen it as a big business, and it's grown. And the problem is the government backs it up because you cannot work on as a project manager for the government if you're not certified.
Yes, yes. But at least, Lucio, I'm totally with you. They're there for the money. I mean, I've been listening to this when I was in college, and the professors, I totally agree with that. I mean, some of them are PMP certified. There's one that is not, and on purpose. But at least you can if you get this certification, it's going to work to your advantage. I mean, it's gonna work to your advantage, and you can expand your horizons. I mean, if you need to get another job, I mean, chances are that if you have a certification, they're gonna consider you. And
I'm doing it. I'm doing it for that. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid, tampoco. Pero I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good in here. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But
yeah,
there's a lot of bullshit.
yes.
And the problem is that we're held as PMs to this standard by auditing.
Yes.
I told you to this standard. That's the problem we have.
Mm-hmm.
The solution in the bank is create another document.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now auditing is managing the PMs. I told this to my boss, to my program manager. I told my program manager, you know what the sad thing is of this shit? And he goes, what? The auditing is managing the PMs. And he goes, no, man, they're not. I go, really? They're not? We have a head of PMO who's very good. She's very knowledgeable in PMO. But I'm not convinced that she fights for certain things. Now, I've seen her fight, and I'm when she does, I'm proud of it, you know, because I see, oh shit, somebody's fighting. But I think there's certain things that she gives in because she is so entrenched in PMI that she agrees it's a flaw. And what the PMs keep telling her is, you're drowning us with redundancy.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we create something called a PIF. A PIF contains a lot of the information that you have stated today that goes into the charter. A PIF has the business case. A PIF has the budget, the initial budget.
Uh-huh.
You know, it has risk, it has the scope, and what's not a scope, has a lot of stuff that goes in the charter. So we create the PIF, then we create the charter copying a lot of stuff that's in the PIF.
Oh my gosh.
The only thing that's different is the milestones. We create the milestones, it's the same shit, and then we create the BRD, and then the BRD, we utilize some of the documentation that's already in the charter, which is already in the PIF.
Yeah, it's like 4 layers in there that it's just redundancy.
It's the same thing in many cases. Now, I understand, you know, but eliminate the redundancy.
Yeah.
I think the BRD is a document that every PM understands it's required. I mean, that's beyond,
yes.
You know. Pero why are we creating in our case, a PIF? A PIF goes to the steering committee for approval. Mm-hmm. That's part of the project approval. That's part of what you were showing here today.
Yeah.
And then after that, you do the charter. Well, what the fuck am I doing the charter for?
Yeah. And
the PIF is created with the business. The business is involved in the PIF. That's really the charter.
Yeah, it is. And you know, other organizations like Disney, and I can tell you, Disney has. You guys have 2 that go to a steering committee. They have like 5 steps prior to creating the project charter. Even worse. And I'm going to tell you, organization, even worse.
And I want to tell you, that's what's going to make me leave this industry. The only reason I'm still in this industry is because I need money. But I'll be honest with you, I'm so fed up with it because of this shit. Now, I see a lot of good. I mean, I see it because I know that I am lackadaisical in some form of documentation. Pero I get fed up because my personality doesn't meet this high level documentation. You know what's happening? You know when you have career paths, right? Yeah. And you have 2 different career paths. You have a technical career path, and you have a non-technical, like a BA. Mm-hmm. I'm noticing that more and more BAs are becoming PMs, and not people that come up through the technical side. I came up through the technical side, you know, but I have management skills. And what happens is BAs by nature, by definition, are documenters.
Yes.
And they fit that mold for a BA, for a PM.
Yes.
And that's why the head of back United, the head of PMO was a BA.
Yep.
Her right person was a BA. That was a VP.
And that's another philosophical question that I have. Should a PM be a BA? Can a PM be a BA as well? Can it wear the two hats?
And it happens in Back United sometimes. I've been the BA and the PM.
And philosophically, I have a conflict with that. I think that the PM should not be the BA. There's a big difference that a lot of people tend to forget. The BA is vested in the project. It's gonna drive. Is in writing the requirements. You're already vested in the project, and you're gonna set up the direction. Philosophically, the PM should not be doing that. Should not do that.
Philosophically, a BA is the technical version of a SME.
Correct.
But the PM is not.
Correct.
We talked about this a little bit in the previous call.
Yep.
And that's just the flaw that there is.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in a project that hey man, the business talks, and to me it's Chinese, half the stuff. But I pick up. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I don't think I'm an idiot, but I pick up on some of the stuff. But I need my BA to decipher what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
So a BA is very important, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Whenever I tell you, whenever I have an interview that I see, oh, we want you to be the PM, but also the BA, and that's how we work. Like, oh, these people don't know jack shit about project management, so I better don't work for these people.
Well, what happens is that in those cases, the organizations aren't very big, and they're too concerned about cost.
Yes.
Wait, if I tell you that Bank United has no QA.
Oh man.
Right? No QA, zero. So what Bank United does is it utilizes the business to do UAT, and it utilizes the developers or PMO to do some unit testing.
Oh no, that's a wrong approach. You need a QA department. I mean, UAT by definition is going to be done by the business, but before that, it's like the way they should look at it is it's different nets of protection. You know, you have one net that is the developer. They do their work and try to find any defects. Of course, they do that. But then your QA is another net of protection.
Exactly.
They check the work that it's being done by the
business,
by the developer, and then it gets promoted, and of course the business can do their UAT. So you had different levels of protection, you know, before going live, and then you have your post implementation or the warranty period that
I will end our discussion with the following. And this is good because I like to talk to you. I'm going to, you know, I'm really impressed with your knowledge, man. You're a very knowledgeable guy, and I'm not talking about the pin book shit. That's all memorization. I'm talking about in common sense management. I was in a meeting yesterday, a PMO meeting, and we were talking about severity of defects and whether a test script is failed or passed. So the scenario got brought up that if you have a severity 1 in a test script, that test script is failed. If you have a severity 2 in a test script, that test script is failed. By definition, at the bank, a severity 1 and 2 is unacceptable to go live. A 3, 4, 5 is acceptable. A 3 is something that has a workaround, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the program managers that's very close, the right-hand person to the head of PMO says, well, if you have a severity 2, but the business says that severity 2 you could go live without severity 2 is the test script failed or passed. And I brought up the point that doesn't make sense, that scenario. Because by definition, if the business says a severity 2 is not going to hinder them to go live, then it's not a severity 2. It's a severity 3.
Yeah.
So by definition, you have to change the severity level of that defect. He argued with me that you don't. And I said, you do, because by definition, the business is stating that's not a severity 2. Severity 2.
Exactly. That doesn't even make sense. And let me tell you, that can come back and bite you. What he's saying can also come back and bite you in the ass in the auditing process.
Oh, hey, I looked at the other PMs, and the head of PMO didn't say shit. And this guy kept arguing with me, and I'm not going to argue. I have the, you know, digo la gente trabajo, I got the, how many licks does it take? Sorry. How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll Center or the Tootsie Pop? You know that commercial?
Yeah. I see that.
1, 2, 3, and it bites it. I tell him I have that philosophy from now on. I argue, I say something, I argue it once, I might argue it 2, but after twice, I give up and I let them bite the center of the Tootsie Roll.
Yeah,
I'm not all day arguing with them.
No, it's better. But it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
So all the PMs were looking at me. And what pissed me off is that none of them spoke up. They all agree with me. But they said, we want to go home. The meeting was at 5 o'clock. This is all, that's why all this shit is like you say, this is all utopia. It's 5 o'clock. They all want to go home. So they're not going to argue because then the meeting never stops.
Yeah.
Because this program manager fights you on a war of attrition.
Yes.
He'll keep arguing with you until he'll stay there until you give up.
Yeah.
But
And then it's the political bullshit and all that crap. I mean,
what happens though, and what happens is, though I was talking to a PM, he goes, man, I used to be an auditor. This is going to get killed in auditing. Same thing you said.
Yeah. That's going to be, I mean, an auditor is going to tell you, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, as simple as that.
It's fucking obvious.
Yeah. But what the hell are you doing?
But I told the guy, you didn't speak up. And he goes, I'm not going to speak up, man. I'm not going to speak up. And it's late. I go, yeah, but you don't understand. You know who gets impacted by this? We do, the PMs. Because now, based on what he says, PMs are going to leave severity 2s that the business says, oh, we can go live with that severity 2. At severity 2. And later on, auditing is going to say, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
And you know what that program manager is going to say? Wait, why did you do this?
Yes.
Because it's not written anywhere. Because again, everything has to be documented in life.
Yeah.
So I personally, I change it to severity 3. I'm not going to leave it as severity 2. I don't care what that program manager says. I don't care what the PMO lady says.
Yeah.
I'm changing it. Period.
Yep. No, it's that's not going to fly in an audit. That's obvious. I mean, that guy is an idiot. He shouldn't be saying that. I mean,
this guy has left me out to hang already a couple of times, and I get really pissed, when it happens, because the guy's an expert on that. The guy gave me a lecture in front of somebody else once on something that I didn't even do as bad as he does, and he's blatant to do it. He's a guy who, for example, when you're doing change management and they require a document showing that you passed test, a tipo has given a document that's blank, but nobody opens the fucking document.
Wow.
He puts it as part of it. Entonces, what happens is they go to the next step, and in his mind, I'll get it later. Entonces, when change management gets audited, they come back. The people do change management, they come back and they say, hey, why is this document blank? And they go, this guy gave it to us blank. And then when they go to the guy, what does he say? Oh, it must have been a mistake.
Yeah.
Here's my document. And he just fucked over the other guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
no.
that. But anyway, con eso te dejo, man, because it's late.
Yeah. No. Thank you, man. I mean, thank you very much because it's really to bounce ideas and really,
Well,
it's really
you
good.
get to know the level of respect I have for you, because if I thought that you were a waste of time, I wouldn't even have these discussions with you.
I appreciate that, and I know that for a fact, man. So
Yeah,
thank you very much, and
man, I'm telling you, man, you've grown a lot in your profession, bro.
yeah, I'm just learning. I mean, there are a couple of certifications that I want to get. ITIL is one of them. We can talk about that later. That's a low hanging tree, and then CSM. I'm starting to like a lot of the agile stuff, and I want to become a certified Scrum Master. It's not really that hard either. So
Yeah.
PMP is harder than those two, but the more it's a proven fact. The more letters you have after your name, the more money you're gonna make. So that's and you once you get your PMP, you gotta start changing your stuff. I mean, it's gonna be Lucid Valar PMP, so you can use
Yeah.
it.
Oh, hey, you know what the funny thing is? This fat idiot, I had negotiated a contract that I got $15 more than they initially had offered me. That's a lot of fucking money, bro.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they were paying me 6 days holidays as a contractor.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I gave that up to become an employee. I must be an idiot, man.
Well, it depends on how you look at it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good things and bad things, stability, and so that's a good thing. So it's a trade off.
That's why I keep repeating to myself.
Yeah.
All right, muchacho. Have a good
All
night.
right. You have a good night, and please make sure if you have any questions, email me. Try to take some of the tests, go over the information, digest it, and then next week.
In the next few days, I'll take some tests.
Okay, and then let me know if you have any questions. Go over the materials and anything. Just email me or call me or text me. I mean, I'm available, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right, big boy.
All right, we'll do it again next week. So,
all right, thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Lucio. Thank you very much.
Bye, man.
Good night. Bye-bye.